Welcome to Puvanur RVIR Laya Academy of Music and Mathematics. Welcome to Puvanur RVIR Laya Academy of Music and Mathematics. We have been going through Misra, Jathi, Jampa, Thalam in level 3 35 Thala series. So we have seen all the sequences, about 12 of them, and then we have seen different varieties of how to go about it in a creative way. So hope you have understood all of them. I'm going to have a special review next class, starting from beginning till end, what all we saw, just as a recap. And then we will get into the another Thalam example, which is Tisra Jathi Tripata Thalam. That would be my next take to go over a journey. Before I start the traditional reduction in Misra Jathi Jampa Thalam, I will start this class with the Tirukkural. அழுக்காறு உடையார்க்கு அது சாலும் ஒன்னார் வழுக்கியும் கேடு ஈன்பது பொறாமையானது பகைவர் இல்லாமல் இருந்தும் கேட்டை விளைவிப்பதாகும் ஆதலால் அப்பொறாமை உடையவர்க்கு அப்பொறாமையே துன்பத்தை தரும். What does Thiruvalur say? If you have jealousy, that is the most worst thing in your life which can ever happen. That jealousy itself will take you to the wrong side of the life. That's what Thiruvalur says. You don't have to have enmity in life. Just the jealousy by itself will take you to the other side of the world, from good to bad. So jealousy has that power of degrading yourself to a lower limit. So we have to adhere the fact that we should not feel jealous, because again and again Thiruvalur takes 10 Tirukkurals in each chapter and reiterates the fact that it's important to follow certain good habits, and we should have good thoughts in our life. And again the central theme may be jealousy, but he interprets in beautiful verses in two-liners brilliantly. So let's adhere this good thought, and then with this good thought we'll get into this class. Today, the traditional reduction is very important, because that's the beauty of you of telling the audience that I have showcased my talent, and now I'm going to conclude my episode with a crescendo, with the beauty of Mora, Korvai, and that's the part it plays. Typically, the reduction is a beautiful demarcator. Your flight is landed onto the space, and from there you're going to take off, and then show that you're going to end it with a beautiful crescendo. So let's get into the traditional reduction. It is very important that you always play this reduction, because it shows that you have learned it right in the much traditional way. That's the beauty of this reduction. In Adi Thalam we saw dim, takita dim, takita taka dinna dim, takita dim, takita dim, takita dim. All these patterns we saw in Adi Thalam. Let's look at it in Misra Jampa Thalam. In Misra Jampa, you have to divide into half, so that it's easier to reduce for 5, and then it's easier to reduce for another 5 to make it 10. Ding, takita dim, takita din, takita din, that ding, takita dim, takita din, takita din, that dim. How it is broken up? Let's look at the math in it. Ding, takita dim. Ding is 3, takita dim. Takita is 3, dim is 2. Again, takita dim, 3 plus 2. Takita din, 3 plus 4. So how it's combined is, the first is 3, the last is 7. It adds up to 10. In between, there is another 10, which is a combination of 3, 2, 3, 2. So if you look at the overall combination or the structure of the first 5 beats is 3, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. That's the split. Ding, takita dim, takita dim, takita din, that ding, takita dim, takita dim, takita din, that dim. That's the first reduction. That's the first part. Dim, takita dim, takita din, takita taka din, the dim, takita dim, takita dim, takita taka din, the dim. Instead of dim tha, I'm only changing dim tha is 2, 2. Instead of that, I'm playing takadina, which is 4. 2 plus 2 is again 4. So you're substituting that 4 there. That's the second part. Now, give a beauty to it. Takita, what all the way you can represent. Thom ketadaka, thari ketadaka. Let's use these two examples and try to form the reduction phrases. Dim, tam ketadaka dim, tam ketadaka dim, tam ketadaka din, that dim, tam ketadaka dim, tam ketadaka dim, tam ketadaka din, that dim. Dim, tarikata dim, tarikata dim, that dim, tarikata dim, tarikata dim, tarikata dim, that dim. Ding, tankata dim, tankata dim, tankata tarikata dim, tankata dim, tankata dim, tankata tarikata dim. These are all 6 different varieties of how you can do the traditional reduction. What all we saw? Takita dim, takita dim, takita din, ta. Takita dim, takita dim, takita takadina. Tankada dim, tankada dim, tankada dim, ta. Tankada dim, tankada dim, tankada tarikada. Tarikada dim, tarikada dim, tarikada dim, ta. Tarikada dim, tarikada dim, tarikada tarikada. These are all the 6 varieties of reduction. You can play 1 or 2, or if you have more time, you can reduce it. If you have a ganjira, if you have a gadam, or if you have more sing, you can do many rounds with different phrases of takita, tamkitadaga, tarikitadaga, tattalangu, takatalangu. All these patterns you can take and then showcase as an interlude, as a dialogue form in the reduction. That's up to your expertise. I will come to that when we handle advanced classes, when we get into the actual music and accompaniment. Now is the Forons. The Forons part, I'll teach you a very simple one so that you can play that. It's a combination of thom kita teka tari kita teka is 6, taka tari kita teka is 4. So 6 plus 4 is 10. The 10 sits in a 2.5 beat cycle. So 2.5 beat into 4 is a 10 beat cycle. Beautifully you can play these combined phrase into this whole 10 beat cycle. Thom kita teka tari kita teka teka tari kita teka thom kita teka tari kita teka teka tari kita teka thom kita teka tari kita teka teka tari kita teka thom kita teka tari kita teka teka tari kita teka tari kita teka tari kita teka teka tari kita 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 teka. So first is you have to reduce in this form. So next one, what I am doing is breaking it into 5 and a 5, but I take the 1.5 beat, 1.5 beat. Twice. So it's a 2 beat. 1.5, 1.5 and 2 beat. Again 1.5, 1.5 and 2 beat. This would be good enough for you. Instead of thom kita teka tari kita teka, I will give you a homework. I will also demonstrate. This is the another way of playing your Forons. There are a number of ways. I will teach you more and more Forons later. But these are the basics by which you can do the traditional reduction. You can choose certain phrases of Forons and then showcase it. Now you're going to play the Mora and Korvai. The Mora and Korvai is a classic, beautiful Kandachapa Mora which you can play, perfectly fits in Misra, Jathi, Jampa, Thalam. That's the first paragraph. The second paragraph is a repeat. The third paragraph will be reduced a little bit. The fourth would be further reduced, and the fifth one will get into the crescendo with a finish of a Thirmanam, so that the whole Mora will come for a 4-beat cycle, which is 10 into 4, 40 beat. That is this Mora math. I will tell from the third part, fourth part and the fifth part, and finally I will tell the whole Mora together. This is the Mora structure, a very classic Mora for Kandachapa Thalam, which can perfectly fit in Misra Jathi, Jampa Thalam. I'm going to tell the full Mora, so just not to lose its continuity and 40 beat continuity, you need to play because it's a crescendo. You're going to showcase and finally you're going to play a Korvai, and then you're going to end your solo performance. So it's very important that you should not miss it, you should not make mistakes when you are playing this. Tangadaka Darikataka Tam Tangadaka Darikataka Dit Tangadaka Darikataka Tangan in the Tom Dit Tangadaka Darikataka Tangan in the Tom Tangadaka Darikataka Tangan in the Tangan in the Tom Tangan in the Tangan in the Tom Tangan in the Tangan in the Tom. That is the Mora for you. Then I will teach you the Korvai, which is a beautiful, lovely, easy Korvai, very majestic, and you can use it for any of the solos which you are going to play in Ganda Chapa or Misra Jathi Jampa Thalam. Tit Thankadaka Darikataka Tam Takadam Tankadaka Darikataka Tam Tit Tankadaka Darikataka Tam Takadam Tankadaka Darikataka Tam Tit Tankadaka Darikataka Takadam Tankadaka Darikataka Tadik Kitato Tadik Kitato Tadik Kitato Tit Tankadaka Darikataka Tam Takadam Tankadaka Darikataka Tam Tit Tankadaka Darikataka Tam Takadam Tankadaka Darikataka Tam Tit Tankadaka Darikataka Takadam Tankadaka Darikataka Tadik Takato Tadik Takato Tadik Takato Tit Tankadaka Darikataka Tam Takadam Tankadaka Darikataka Tam Tit Tankadaka Darikataka Tam Takadam Tankadaka Darikataka Tam Tit Tankadaka Darikataka Takadam Tankadaka Darikataka Tadik Tarikato Tadik Tarikato Tadik Tarikato Tatak Din Tatak Tatak Din Tankadaka Din Tankadaka 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 Tankadaka. That's how you have to play the Korvai 3 times. Tadik Kitatum is the last part of it. I will explain the structure. It is a Gobuchayati. Gobuchayati is like a cow's tail starting from a bigger piece and it becomes slender, it reduced form, like from descending order. If you look at it, Tit Thankadaka Tha, that's the first pattern I chose. The second time, Thaha becomes Tham. Tit Thankadaka Tham. The third time, without that Tham also, Tit Thankadaka Tam Thankadaka. So there is a beautiful reduction there. Thaha, Tham, 0. So 4 to 0 is the progression. The last part of the Korvai is Tadik Kitatum, Tadik Kitatum, Tadik Kitatum. How the math is here is 3, 6. 6, there is a 1 pause. 6, there is another pause. Again the 6. 3, 6 are 18. 1 and 1 is a pause. If you add those two, 1 and 1, 18 plus 2 is 20. 20 perfectly fits in a divisible by 5 and it comes for 5 beats in 5 beats because each beat is 4 syllable. So 20 divided by 4 is 5 beats. So the last 5 beats would be Tadik Kitatum, Tadik Kitatum, Tadik Kitatum. That's how the math is formed. So I'm going to play this Mora and Korvai together and that's how you should play. And finally what I did is Ta, Din, the Din, Tatak, Tatak, Din, the Tam, Tankada Din, Tankada Din, Tankada Din, Tankada Din, Tankada Din. I played a filler for 4 beats and then a small tirmanam of 6 beats. Tam Tam Kita Tim Dum Ta. Tam Kita Taka. Tam Tam Kita Dim Dum Ta. Tam Kita Taka. Tam Tam Kita Dim Dum Ta Tam. So Tam Tam Kita Dim Dum Ta is 6. Tam Tam Kita Dim Dhum Tha. And if you look at Tisra, if you put in Tisra Ekam, Tam Tam Kita Dim Dhum Tha. That's a 6 syllabled phrase. Again we are repeating 3 times 6 syllable phrase. In between we are giving a 3 Korvais. Tam Kita Taka 3. Tam Kita Taka is again 3. So 6 into 3, 18. 3 into 2 is 6. 18 plus 6 is 24. 24 divided by 4 is 6 beats. That's why you are playing this Tirmanam in 6 beats after doing that filler. That's the math behind this Tirmanam. So I'm going to do the Mora, Korvai, filler and the Tirmanam together without a break. how you have to finish. So this class is a little longer class for you. What all aspects we have covered? We have covered the traditional reduction. We saw 3 different varieties of reduction, each into 10 beat cycle, and you can showcase with, if you have a partner, when there is another player who is playing with you in Ganjira or Gadam, you can do a multiple alternate roles. The next is the Forons. I gave you ideas of how to do Forons. Like a 2.5 beat cycle you can take. That phrase you can take. Then 3-2 combination. We saw the 3 and 2 combination. You can also do a different variety like 2.5 beats and 2.5 beats with a different phrase. There are so many ways you can join using the phrases into the structure. But whatever I taught you in a simple form, I want you to first of all understand and play without a gap. Right from the reduction, your Forons and Mora, your Korvai, filler, Thirmanam, that's the greatest of crescendos. You should not make a mistake. You should have a lot of energy. And when you are playing all these phrases, you should emphasize each phrase. The chap, dhum, tha, everything should be very clear when you are expressing it. That gives a beautiful feel for the audience when they listen, and also for the Rasikas. You are the primary Rasika first, and you should first of all enjoy yourself what you're doing. So, congratulations again. It's a great finish. We have completed the first, one of the complex thalas what I've taken. One of the complex thalas I would say, but there are many complex thalas. In 35 thalams, I want you to master this. And we will see a few more samples in this going forward. I will end this class with a Tirukkural, and I will do a review in the next class just to recap what all we did in Misra Jathi Jampa Thala as a quick recap, and I want you to get have a firm footing on this advanced classes. கொடுப்பது அழுக்கறுப்பான் சுற்றம் உடுப்பதும் உண்பதும் இன்றி கெடும். ஒருவர் மற்றொருவருக்கு கொடுப்பதை குறித்து பொறாமைப்படுபவரது உறவினர் கூட உடுக்க உடையும் உண்ண உணவும் இல்லாமல் அழிவர். Somebody feeling jealous of somebody giving to somebody doing charity. For example, I am doing a charity to a person who's a needy person, and somebody feels jealous about it. Even the relatives will be affected by this thought of jealousy. The thought of jealousy is so powerful that it can even affect our relatives. So again, Thiruvalluvar reiterates that it's important that you should not feel jealous. That's the underlying point, and let's try to emulate this habit, which is an inherent natural thing in every human being, and we need to ensure that reduce the percentage as we go forward in our life and become more and more mature, not to be jealous on others, not to feel jealous about others. Be happy with what you have. Work hard to get that. Earn yourself, or earn yourself to go to a higher plane of in the life which has been gifted by the God. With this good thought, I'm signing off today. I'm going to have a detailed review of Misra Jathi Jampa Thalam in the next class, and then I will go into few more examples of 35 thalas. Cheers. Ponur RV here, signing off.